Hey guys, welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to transpose data in SQL using pivot. So in this example, I'm just selecting from this table called sales data, and I have three columns here. So I have year, quarter, and amount. So let's say if I want to transpose this data where I want to convert these rows, which is quarter, like I have quarter 1, 2, 3, 4 into columns, I can use this pivot operator or pivot clause in SQL. So instead of like showing it in rows, I just want to see like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 in its own column. So I'll be rotating the data or pivoting the data. So one of the things I can do is I can use a case statement here. So I can say select year, and then I can say case when my quarter equals Q1, then I'm gonna show the amount, else I'm just gonna show null and then I can just call it Q1, and this will be from my sales data table. So sales data, and then I can simply copy and paste it here for Q2. So now I can say if it's Q2, I'm gonna sum up the amount, else I'm just gonna sum up 0 or nulls. So I can say Q2 here, and this is Q2 value here. So I'm just going to do it for 2 quarters just to show you here. So now if I execute it, you see for all Q1s is going to show you a Q1 value, and then if it's null, it's just going to show you null. And then what I can do is I can just do a sum here. So as you can see, it's a little bit complicated. So I can just do all of these aggregates, and then I can group it by year. So I have to write this case statement, then I have to do an aggregate here, and then I have to group by year. So if I execute it now, you see I have transposed the data from rows into columns. So I have Q1, Q2, and then if I want to do it for Q3 and Q4, I can just add the same condition here where I'll be just counting values for Q3 and Q4. But there is an easier way of doing that, and it's using the pivot operator or the pivot clause. So here's how it works. So I'm just going to say select all from, and then I'm going to write a subquery because you have to have a subquery on your source data. And here I'm going to select all the 3 columns. So I have year, quarter, and then amount from our source table, which is the sales data table. So I'm just selecting all the columns here, and then let's just give it an alias, the subquery. So I'm going to call it source. And then here's how you use the pivot clause here. So I'm just going to say pivot, and here's where I'm going to define what value I'm going to pivot it on, and if there is an aggregate here. So here, what value do I want here? I want to see all the amounts here because this is the amount. So I can say amount, and I'm just going to aggregate this here, sum amount. And then here's the syntax for it. I'm going to say for, and I want to pivot it on this quarter here. So I'm gonna take these values here, and I'm gonna say for quarter, because that's the column name, in, and all the values. So I can say Q1, Q2, for example here, and you have to put it in square brackets. So I'm gonna say Q1 and then Q2. Let's just do it for Q1 and Q2 now. And here finally I'm just gonna give it an alias for the pivot table. So I'm just gonna call it, let's say, PVT pivot table. Okay, now let's execute it now. So you see here it's selecting all the columns here, but it has transposed the data, all of these rows, it has transposed them into columns. So Q1, it has its own column, and then Q2 it has its own column where it has the value. So Q1, if you see for 2024, we had $350 here, and for Q2 2024 we had $400 here. And then here I can simply add my other values. So I can also say Q3 and Q4. So it's really easy to like add more pivot columns here. So I'm going to say Q3, Q4, and it's going to transpose all of the 4 quarters from rows into columns. And then here I can also transpose some other values. So I can also transpose, let's say, year, all the year values. So I just want to see 2024, and then comma in square brackets again 2025. So now if I execute it, it's going to transpose the year into columns. So So before we had it in a single column, in multiple rows, we had 2024, 2025, but what we did is we transposed these rows into columns here. So 2024 has its own column where you can see all the quarters, and then 2025 has its own column where you can see all the quarters as well. Okay, so this is how you can easily transpose data or pivot data from rows into columns using the pivot operator. If you found this helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you for watching.